Right, well, welcome back to Here's Dull Videos. Apologies, it's been a while, but this is the long-awaited part 2 of the Audi TT. So I've got big updates to follow. The major update is the project in the fact that the rebuild is basically done and it's now in storage here. I'm not going to be taking it out today because it's chucking it down. It's spring. It's just turned spring. But what we are going to do is we're going to talk through what's gone on since the last one. So in a second there'll be an update from November 2024 that was filmed when I took it to the body shop. Then I'll go over what work has been done by me. I'm going to go over the costs and an investment update on look at what we are measuring all this up against. And then I think a couple of things. I might do a bit more of a detail on all the sort of strip down and rebuild that I've done on this. This isn't an extensive restoration project, but just the jobs that I've done. I might do a separate video on that just to go into a bit more detail because there are people out there who really like dull detail. So that's for you. And then I'm going to do a bit more of a driving reveal of this in the summer when we've got a nice day. I'm going to get it out. It doesn't need an MOT, and I'm going to need to tax it. So I'll probably tax it for a month in summer, take it out and do a little bit of a run, a bit of a road trip video, just to do the full amazing body reveal. So yeah, without further ado, let's go back to November 2024. So I have just been to get a quote on the paintwork and to see what the guy is saying. Just bear with me whilst I navigate some directions. I'm in an area that I'm not too familiar with. And I'll also apologise in advance. I've got the dog with me. He is liable to jump up on the seat and block your view. Sorry about that. I'm on dog walking duties imminently. So yeah, so this bit is just going to be purely about the paintwork, and over the next few days, hopefully, I'll have some more updates coming up. I'll stick them all on the same video. So what he said to me, I've walked him around the car as I've done my walk around on the last video and gone over all the bits. So he said really the front bumper needs to come off. Most of the labour is going to be involved, you know, most of the cost is going to be probably involved in that. But to do it properly, that's what we need to do. So I'm sort of thinking, he was saying by the time you've taken the bumper off to secure that little crack, may as well have painted it. So I'm just contemplating that, and there is that other little crack up there. So I'm thinking we might do what he's suggesting. The wings, as someone has already commented on the video, it'll need new ones. They can be done, they can be painted, but it's gonna, even if it's gonna be kept in a garage, a dry garage, he's saying it's gonna come back. So it looks like I might be looking for a couple of wings, which is pushing the cost up, because I know they're not cheap. The sills, he seems to think both probably need doing, but if I take those off for him, that's going to keep my costs low. So I'm going to have a look at doing that. I've already had a look on eBay, on YouTube, for some tutorials on that one. Looks fairly straightforward, so I'll probably do that and then get him to paint the ones that's there. He seems to think that that's going to be an alright sort of approach. The ding in the bonnet, yeah, dent man can probably do that. The ding in the door, the dent man can probably do that. The ding in the back quarter panel, it's going to need painting. So we're into paint for that. The boot, the whole boot needs painting. And I'm going to have to find the right stuff to put around the spoiler. And also, it needs a new spoiler. He doesn't want to start fixing that one. So he said it can be done, but with the bolt that's come off, he's not going to be guaranteeing the glue. So I need to look for one. I did already have a look for one, again on eBay. They look like they're quite rare to find them. So yeah, I need to do some research on that one. You can get it in for probably looking Easter time next year. So I've provisionally booked it in for then, because I want to get this underway and I want to know when I'm going to be getting everything done. So if it is that time, it's likely going to be that the bodywork will be the last thing to get done, because everything else that I need to do, I am hoping, touch wood, I don't know why I'm touching the steering wheel, I'm hoping to have that done by the time this goes in for all its bodywork. So yeah, because he wants to do it. He says he'll have to have the car for a couple of weeks for all this, and he wants to do it when we haven't got salt on the roads and all that sort of stuff. I think because with it being an older car and more susceptible to things like that, so, which makes sense to me. He's given me a very big scope in terms of what it's going to cost. So he's saying £1,000, maybe 1,500 quid. Now that's obviously with me buying the wings, me buying the spoiler. So already my 5k, that's. I mean, if I hope for £1,000, then with the wheels, they're 200 quid, I think. So I'm already at my 5k limit without me sorting out the little dial down here, and I can't remember what else there was. I think, was that it? I can't remember now. I'll have to look back at my list. Anyway, I'm just fingers crossed that I'm going to manage this. But it's like any project, any car project. I thought that this would be well within my 5k budget, but I'm thinking that maybe now it's not. Anyway, so that's the update on the painting side of things. Over the next couple of days, I might start on this. So there's probably going to be, I'll attach that onto this video. So start on this LCD screen, which is really annoying me. I plugged this into the computer, by the way. My friend's got a Snap-on diagnostics thing, just because I can and it's free. There's no errors. I think there's the odd little intermittent thing here and there, which I've cleared the codes off. But yeah, there's nothing. There's no issues. I wanted to see if there was anything gearbox related, because I've mentioned about this. It's when you're just setting off. If you're doing like a 3-point turn, or you've just stuck into drive, it really jerks forward. Like it's suddenly finding the biting point and shooting off. So I was looking to see if there was any issues with that. Again, someone else has commented, thank you very much, saying that they are known for that type of sort of sudden grab. I just wasn't sure if mine was a bit more than normal, because once it's driving, it's fine, and if you stick it in sport mode and you want to make some progress, the gear change is lovely, smooth, it's great. So I was quite happy with that. So that's the update for now. I'm going to go and walk the dog, mull over the excessive paint bill that I might be faced with, and also a new task of tracking down cheap new wings. Is that possible? I definitely want Audi ones, I don't want anything else. But yeah, tracking down those and finding a spoiler and a fitting kit. If anyone knows, because I have looked into the fitting kit for these 3.2 spoilers, they did do one. There's a company, I think it's based in Germany, but I can't buy parts off there, or they're not available anymore, or it's all nothing's straightforward. I can't just type fitting kit for this spoiler into eBay and get one. What's the next best thing? That's the question. What's the next best thing? Because I don't want to just stick it down with Sikaflex, because I think that's not the way to do it. And last time that clearly didn't work properly anyway, and actually caused more damage. So I need to get. It's like an extractor, not an extractor, like foam stuff that goes around the edges of it, like a Feels a bit of an awkward angle this, but I just thought I'd go for a different shot. Anyway, I've got my book here. So that was then, and this is now. So we're just going to go through what I have done since that video, work I've undertaken. Basically, I bought new wings, 2 new Audi wings, 2 new Audi sills. Had to get new Audi sills in the end. There was just a bit too much rot, and I thought the body shop guy is probably just going to say you should have bought new ones when he saw the state of the other ones. Bit the bullet on that, so that is an expense I wasn't anticipating. Anyway, I got something back by repairing the spoiler. They were about over 200 quid, and roadster ones not so easy to come across. So I ended up repairing that. I've got some decent epoxy glues. It was a little bit fiddly because it's very difficult to work with the angles of it and how to compress on glued joints and what have you. But anyway, I've managed that. LCD screen. That was sent off, took all the dash off, wasn't too much of a bad job. Sent it off to someone from eBay, and yeah, 75 quid later, it comes back, good job. It's brilliant to be able to see what the warning lights are. Well, it's not great to see warning lights, is it? But it's good to see, for example, that you know that it's the washer fluid that's low and not, I don't know, an ABS fault or something, because you couldn't see anything from that. Interior has had a good clean, pretty thorough, almost with a toothbrush, getting all the dust and crumbs and stuff out of all the nooks and crannies. Had some leather care put on the seats. There's still a little in areas, I don't know if, I've tried several times. I've sort of soaked it in leather care, scrubbed it. There's still a little bit of a grubbiness to it in areas. I don't know if anyone's got any tips on how to get it sort of looking like the headrest, for example, is lovely and grey. I don't know if you just have to go down, like recolour it, but it's pretty clean. It's not, I'm picking fault there really. Wheels, got those redone, 300 quid. I wouldn't go back to the same guy. He charged a lot, and his paint is not his paint choices. I wanted, because these wheels should have a very slight metallic look to them, and they don't have that. I asked for a metallic finish, and he's given me one, but it's got like it's really a heavy. It's almost like a glitter. I'm in an Audi TT hairdresser's car. Let's face it. It looks more like a Barbie car now. It's got like in the sunlight, there's almost like a purple hue about these sparkles. Again, most people aren't going to notice, but I do, and I want it factory. So I might end up revisiting that, but they look a lot better. Yeah, so those are the parts that I bought. Then I've stuck it on axle stands. I've taken out the wheel arch liners, taken off the sills. Sills was a bit awkward, but again, not too much faff. It's quite interesting getting down to all the dirt that was compacted between the liner and the back of the sill, and I was quite relieved that despite the amount of dirt compacted in there, it was like some sort of excavation project getting to the metal behind it all, and the water that must have held. I was a bit concerned, but need not be. No rot, bit of surface rust, but no rot. So that's all good. Cleaned all those up. So that's nicely prepared for the body shop. The brakes, whilst it was on the axle stands, I noticed they needed service, so I stripped front and rears out. Fronts, the discs on the inner side were horrendous. Like I hadn't seen it obviously from the outside, unless you're getting it up on a ramp, which I hadn't seen it, but really, really bad. Worst I've seen, and I had trouble finding some at a reasonable price. The normal manufacturers or parts outlet places that I use didn't seem to offer the two-piece OEM caliper. There was one disc. There was one company that were selling left and rights for the pair about £500. Now I think that's changed. That was back in sort of June, May time last year, 2025. And we're now in 2026, March 2026. Back then, that's all I could find. I did find an EBC brake discs for 150 quid, but they weren't two-piece, and I wanted two-piece. But yeah, because of that, I ended up getting the original one skimmed, which I felt quite good about, because it's supporting local business. I like to reuse things, and it was done decades ago, I think, quite often, and is not done so much now. Probably because it wasn't that cheap. So that ended up costing me to get them skimmed, and you know, good as new, but to get them skimmed was 180 quid. So a lot. And at the time of making this video, I've just had another look, and I found all sorts of options on the normal parts outlets, and I probably could have got two-piece ones for 200 quid. Anyway, so it was an interesting exercise, the brakes, but again, more expense than I had bargained for. Sills needed a little bit of cleaning up. There was some surface rust, but no rot. I used this Genelite product, which had been recommended to me by the body shop, which is not something I've actually come across before, which is unusual because I've done lots of stuff like this. But he recommended that, so I treated it with that, ready for him. Did the same with the number plate lights on the boot, stripped those old ones off, binned them, cleaned the rust off, Genelighted, sorted. What else was it? I think that's pretty much about it. So then that was then ready for painting in July 2025. It's gone off to him, and then come back and I've set about rebuilding it, which was, again, relatively straightforward. Not as time consuming that I thought, and I'm really happy with the result. £1,500 I've paid for the paintwork on this car, and he's done an excellent job. There was a stone chip up here, and there was a couple of chips on the offside rear bumper. And I'd said, you know, just touch those in, trying to keep costs down. When I went to pick it up, he just said, oh, you know, I just sprayed it in the end, you know, it's fine, it's the same price. So I'm really happy. I mean, maybe he thought I've done so much of the prep work for him. Maybe he thought I'll just do that, but I don't know. Either way, I'm very happy with the job. Front bumper as well, I prepped that whilst I had it on the axle stands, took out all the retaining bolts apart from two. So yeah, it did make it sort of an easy job for him, I suppose. So yeah, let's come back. I've built it all back up. The spoiler, putting that back on was a challenge. That was some operation. I'll stick a picture up. But again, the angles that I'm working at, and you've got to, I did put it on with some Sikaflex and a bit of the original, well, I did reuse the original sort of gasket that went round, but it had perished a bit, so I had to pump it up with a little bit of Sikaflex. But then to clamp that down for a good, 24 hours, I managed it. But yeah, it was, yeah, look at the pictures. It was quite amusing. But I'm pleased. I was pleased with my ingenuity skills on there. So yeah, apart from that, gave it a service, and then it's arrived back here. Yeah, this is much more of a more natural angle for me to be, I think, to go through the costs and investment side of this. So back in 2024, obviously, we did the shares and the investment account, not the investment account, the shares and the savings account comparison. So we'll come on to that. Costs-wise, though, first of all, there has been some escalation, as you may have expected, because does anyone do a project like this and it not escalate? I don't think that's ever happened. It's certainly not happened to me. And I did expect it a little bit, but not as much as it has done. I still think it's a good bet, but yeah, mainly wings, sills and brakes. They were the three things that I hadn't bargained for prior to going to the body shop or stripping it down. So the wings, £619, sills, £542, brakes, £220. So yeah, quite a lot more than I was hoping for. A few of the other little costs just to touch on. As I said, the body shop has cost me £1,500. That has been a bargain job. I know I've done quite a bit of work myself prepping for it, but I just think, the quality of the work I'm really pleased with. Car itself, obviously £2,800. Wheels £300. The LCD screen, that cost me £75. Just service items, I've included the brakes actually in this one, but I'm looking at my spreadsheet that I did. Service, brakes, and all extra bits, like I had to buy some extra screws and bits of glue and all things like that. That's coming at £377. The panels have totaled £1,161. The wings and the sills. Gas struts, we've got those, 20 quid. Number plate lights, genuine, 60 quid. And a pair of wiper blades, 20 quid. So they're the main costs of the car. That brings the car to £6,300, or the total investment, £6,313 and 46 pence. So we're just 1,300 quid over. Well, that's not too bad, right? So, right, we'll come on to the BT shares. So we invested 5k. That same £5,000 investment, which was £1.48 or 148 pence a share at the time in November 2024. Now that would be worth £6,881. So that would have been a good investment. Nvidia shares were $145 a share, and we had 5k. That 5k would now be worth, on today's price, which is 29th of March 2025, £5,723. So the year two of the investment account would have that at £5,220. So all have gone up, and mine's obviously gone down. I've still got hope for it, even though that the latest on the Iran war scenario. You've got Yemen wading into this now, and the oil supply might get even tighter as a result. So, yeah, petrol-thirsty cars, maybe not the best thing. But yeah, as I say, I remain hopeful. Right, so looking at Auto Trader, and I do think there is some hope to get from here. What I did notice when I've just done a search, March 2025. Hang on, no, we're not March 2025. We're March 2026. I've lost a year. Sorry for the confusion. Yes, we are 29th of March 2026 at the time that I'm giving this video. So on Auto Trader, what I've found doing this search a year and a half on, there or thereabouts, there are less Roadsters coming back on the search results, which is a good thing. The rarity is increasing. In December, it was December 24 when I looked, and we were looking at 4 to 5k for one of these, I think, in this sort of condition. That's what I found. Now, when I was looking through, the closest one to this car was a very familiar one, and I'll put that up on the screen now. This is an interesting story, and this is not one that compares to this car, certainly not now. So it's sold at a dealer, currently wanting £5,000 for it with 112,000 miles. You may recognise the car from the last video, because back then it was £4,000. Weirdly, it had done 113,000 miles. So it'd done more miles a year and a bit ago than it has now. And I do like the line of it's got great history, which to me sounds like it doesn't have great history. And when you couple it with 1,000 miles less now, anyway. But the important thing was, from that I took from it, it was £4,000. It's now gone up to £5,000, even with its rotten wings, which have been beautifully masked with a bit of black, whatever it is, trim. Probably don't go to that garage. So yeah, that does suggest basically the upward trend that I'm hoping for seeing, and I think I'm hoping that that's going to, spike a little bit more now in the coming couple of years. Other ones that I've seen, and this does fill me with hope, one with 82,000 miles, obviously a lot less than this. One owner car, 7,000. They're asking for that one. 77,000 mile one. I'm going to assume it's got lots of owners because it doesn't say how many owners. £6,500, and that's with a bad LCD screen, a few chips. That's a private seller. They're probably wanting too much for that, to be fair. But nevertheless, that gives me quite a bit of hope that this is going to be a good investment. Although on today's prices and what I might overspend, currently not. But yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens by the time I'm doing the update when we're going on a little bit of a road trip, and then next year. So that's it then for this video. We'll wrap it up now. I'm really pleased with the way that this has turned out. A1 condition, I would say that this is now, and I'm really looking forward to having a spin in summer and going on a road trip. So join me on the next video for that one, please. Sorry it's been so long. Yeah, let's hope it is summer. We'll see. I'll probably end up filming it and then, you know, I'll put it out in winter or something crazy like that. But yeah, like and subscribe. It'd be great to get to 1 million subscribers. I'm hoping for by the end of April. I won't say what year, but let's just say the end of April. But yeah, please join me in summer, and I will see you then. Thanks a lot.